And tonight, in a Hannity exclusive, for the very first time, the parents of slain Border Patrol agent Brian Terry are appearing together for an interview. Now, Josephine and Ken Terry know all too well the deadly ramifications of the Fast and Furious program. And like any parent would, they want those responsible for authorizing this reckless scheme to be brought to justice. But time after time, they have been met with nothing but obstruction by the White House. And since the Terry family has not received answers from President Obama or the Attorney General Eric Holder, today they are launching the Brian Terry Foundation to honor their fallen son and to bring public awareness to this deadly and flawed program. And joining me now in a Hannity exclusive are the parents of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry, Josephine and Ken Terry. Thank you both for being here. And I know this has got to be very hard on both of you. Here your son is out protecting our borders and our country. He loses his life. So I know I speak for a lot of Americans, and you're both in our hearts and in our thoughts and in our prayers. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me start, Ken, let me ask you, when you heard that the government provided the weaponry to the cartels and criminals and drug dealers, the very guns that were used to kill your son, what was your reaction?
I was very furious.
Yeah. And you, Josephine?
I was very upset.
I didn't believe it. I thought it wasn't real.
It is almost too much to believe, isn't it? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like it's a bad dream. Like I'm going to wake up.
It was like they weren't telling us something that we wanted to hear. It was like it was a fog.
Yeah. You've been watching what's been going on. You've watched congressional hearings. Let me remind our audience and remind you, Congressman Darrell Issa questioning Eric Holder on the issue of your son and the loss of your son. Let me play this for you.
Who exactly was involved, what the level of knowledge was, who should be held accountable if, in fact, there were mistakes that were made. That's what the Inspector General will be looking at.
What am I going to tell Agent Terry's mother about how he died at the hand of a gun that was videotaped as it was sold to a straw purchaser, fully expecting it to end up in the hands of drug cartels?
Well, you know, one will have to see exactly what happened with regard to the guns that are at issue there.
I certainly regret what happened to Agent Brian Terry. I can only imagine the pain that his family has had to deal with, in particular his mother. I am the father of 3 children myself. We are not programmed to bury our kids.
Mr. Terry, your reaction to that?
I don't think my son should have went before me. You know, it's very hard.
Yeah. Josephine?
To me, I was just flabbergasted because I think that all of this was useless. It should have never happened.
What do you think? I understand there was a moment when the Attorney General was confronted on whether or not he had contacted you, both of you, about the loss of your son, guns provided by our government, and before you even got the apology, I understand that it was leaked to the press because he was kind of embarrassed in that congressional hearing because nobody, as I understood it up to that point, had contacted you. Is that true?
That's true.
That's true.
So how did you find out about that the Attorney General finally apologized after Congress kind of embarrassed them into it? Mr. Terry.
A letter.
A letter.
After it was made public out in the media.
Has President Obama ever reached out to you?
No.
At the funeral, he called us.
He did call.
At the funeral home. At the funeral home, but
You couldn't understand what he was saying. I couldn't anyway.
Yeah.
no, we couldn't, and we didn't know anything about the gun running Fast and Furious and nothing about that at that time.
All right, so the president, we watched this now go on for over 18 months. And the president then decides to invoke executive privilege at the 11th hour on the eve of the Attorney General being held in contempt. I have no doubt the White House is watching both of you tonight. What would you like to say to the president and the Attorney General of the United States?
I probably couldn't say it on camera, but I'd like to say to him. But But I'd say get their heads out of the butt anyway.
I think that if he did this, then I think that there's something that they don't want us to know, and there's something to hide.
You know, I saw
I think
that.
they're hiding something.
Yes, Mr.
I think
Terry?
they're lying and they're hiding it.
You think they're lying and
hiding?
Go ahead,
Oh,
sir.
yeah, big time. Big time. They're passing the buck.
In other words, that you believe that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What was you going to say?
No, you said they were lying and hiding something. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I got a gut feeling on that.
Yeah.
I just know that they're hiding something big.
And
I think something happened out there, and worse than what we know.
You know,
my son wasn't even supposed to be out there that night.
Yeah. Let me just play for you something, and I don't know what to make of this, except the president was asked about this. Now, we know Eric Holder knew about it much earlier than he first testified before Congress. So he wasn't truthful. I mean, at some point, he had to admit to this 7 months later. But I want you to play you the president, President Obama, and when he said neither he nor Holder knew anything about this program, and get your reaction to this tape.
The Mexican government complains that they were not informed about the Fast and Furious operation. Did you authorize this operation, and was President Calderon properly informed about it?
Well, first of all, I did not authorize it. Eric Holder, the Attorney General, did not authorize it. What he's done is he's assigned an IG, an Inspector General, to investigate what exactly happened here.
Who authorized it?
Well, we don't have all the facts. That's why the IG is in business, to collect the facts.
The President of the United States says he didn't authorize it, and he said the Attorney General didn't authorize it. I would imagine, as parents of a lost son, that you want to know who then, in fact, authorized selling guns to kidnappers, drug dealers, and drug cartels, weapons that ultimately were used to kill your son, another agent, and involved in other crimes.
Well, you know, Eric Holder has been before Congress so many times. And the first couple times, you can tell there's something being hidden, there's something not being said. And after a while, when you feel like throwing the TV through the front window because you get tired of hearing the constantly lies that you know they are doing.
Jay Carney today actually said that Darrell Issa and the Republicans, that this is a fishing expedition, this is to score political points in an election year. What do you make of the fact that they're trying to turn this around? Because these guns have ended up on a lot of crime scenes. Your son is lost, and they're saying this is a fishing expedition. Do you have any message to the White House on that?
Well, why don't they ask themselves, search their souls, and also why don't they ask the people in Mexico who were murdered with them same guns who killed my son?
And I think that they're bringing all this up because they want to put Fast and Furious on the back burner until the election is over.
I do too.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know, I wonder.
I think it's interrupting.
God forbid if this is any parent, they have a right to know. How did our government provide the weapons to known criminals and killers that end up killing heroes like your son? This is not politics. This is basic human decency in my mind. I know this is very difficult for you, both of you. I am glad that you are outspoken. I do believe we have a right to accountability from our public servants. And I know I speak for many Americans, and I express our deep sympathy and sorrow over the loss of your son. He was a true great American hero. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And coming up.